nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Take a moment to remember Tony McIntyre's dad. Good evening, everyone. Great to see you all. Happy January 2026. All right, so need a motion to approve the December 15th meeting and the December 29th year-end meeting and the January 5th organizational meeting. We can do that in one fell swoop, or we can do individual. How about if we do them all at once? Do we have a motion?
I have a motion.
Mike, that second. Matt Beach. Oh, we want to welcome Matt to the commission. Congratulations, and look forward to working with you and some great things going on. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So, okay. Treasurer's report. Bill?
Okay, this is a year-end report, so we'll do codes again first, single page. Left-hand side is the checking account balance, $1,557. The middle is the savings. And the M&T Bank is $6,400, and way on the left is the New York class account of $71,380.
So Bill, a couple months ago, back in October, you asked how to handle the accounts. And I think just by keeping it separate from the Belgium account, I think we need to do that. It's not part of our assets, even though we're looking out for it. So can we do that?
Well, it would have a monetary attachment to it because the QuickBooks program only allows me one now. The old one I could do it.
How about a spreadsheet?
Yeah, but like this,
Just like that?
Then not put it.
but it's not going to be in QuickBooks then. It's not going to be entered anywhere.
Can't you do it on a spreadsheet like this, or?
What? Yes, but then it's not on the computer. You'll have access to it.
Well, you can
Or wait.
share, you could share the spreadsheet out
Yes,
with
on
us.
the,
Because you're not writing a ton of text from it.
no, right, there's not much going on.
So we could probably take it out and worst case, we try it. If it doesn't work, then we look at everything else. But I don't think it's feasible. You can put it in a shared space.
I apologize that, we asked what do you want us to do, what do you want me to do, and nobody said anything. So,
What's going to happen with your annual reports? Control it.
Right. Well, again, who's handling the codes money? Me? Then it's got to be with the district. Because it's going to be in the auditor's going to look at all of that. And this is where the problem comes. They want it all together. Same with the service awards, same with the,
But it's not, service awards is fire district money. Codes is not.
I know the district is handling it. So now if you're saying the district isn't going to handle it, who is? If I'm doing it, I'm the district.
I mean, we're talking $7,000.
Yes.
It's a fair amount of money, and I think we need good accounting.
Yeah,
How much is it going to cost if we have to set up
and
another
I'd have
company?
to find out.
If we have to set up another company, I think Coach should pay that cost.
So look into it, see what the cost is going to be, and then leave it as is for now, and get back to us, we'll figure out where we're going to go with it. Thought I'd make it easier for you, but yeah.
Well, no, not the spreadsheet one. All right, so that's the codes report. The next one, district. We got 31 district vouchers, 3 credit card, 4 encumbered vouchers. 3
My son just wanted to play.
2 permissive referendum, and no codes vouchers. Page 1, 2, and 3, and 4 is a summary of last year's account. Next month, you'll get January's report. So this is the report for the year, page 1, 2, 3, 4, for our budget. Page 5 is the total for the year for the bank accounts, M&T and New York Plat. Page 6 is for the year for the service awards. 7 is the new liability. We only have the one principal and interest payment so far for 2026. Page 8 are the permissive referendum. Without today's vouchers from them, if they haven't been subtracted yet. And page 9, 10, and 11, I'm sorry I had to do that landscape because to get all that writing in there so I could read it, and you could read it, it had to go that way. A total of $81,808 in vouchers. And yes, on tonight's vouchers, you'll see I'm trying a different, some of them have a different form at the bottom left-hand side where I mark off. I won't find anything else. Whether it's coming out of the checking account, coming out of firehouse payroll, whether it's coming out of service awards, there's a little check box in there. So if you see that, that's what that is. Just trying that out.
Is there any way that we can get a copy of the vouchers prior to the commissioners meeting so that when we look at it?
Could have been known today, maybe. Because I get vouchers this morning.
So that's as soon as it would be moved today?
Well, that would be the quickest. Whenever the mail comes this morning, I gotta process them.
Okay. So can we get a look at that so that we not go through that here?
Do you want, I could probably do a list for you.
Okay. Of who they are, what it is, and how much?
Yeah, and I'd have to say depends on how busy I get. Because Monday is, used to be Friday was a cutoff date, right? And it was possible, but now it goes right to the meeting day.
Okay.
That's it.
Is there a reason why we couldn't go back to Friday?
No, just know, you have to know that when Monday comes at the meeting, there could be vouchers that's going to be on the next month.
Right. But okay, this is the deal. You want your money, you get your voucher in by Friday.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta have cutoff date in order for them to process that. I'm good with that.
Or there would be a handful maybe that if you miss them,
Right. I can see
you'd have like 4 or 5 now.
once in a while. We got the last minute in another folder.
Yes, and then I used to do that too. I put a folder, these were the ones that just came in, that wouldn't be on the report.
I think that would be fine, because that way it gives time to go through and see what they are. I said, I think that'll be fine, because that way it'll give us time to go through them and see what they are.
Yep.
That way, in the event that there's questions, we can go ahead and ask those questions, and be prepared for those questions. And I have a reasoning that I'll come to in a couple of minutes. but-
When you say, just off there, how am I giving this to you after Friday, I got to process them or PAC-B here.
So you've got these reports right here, voucher reports right there, email.
Email.
Does that work with everyone?
Yeah.
Oh. Anything else? Any questions for Bill? Okay, how about a motion to approve the report as presented?
Motion?
Michael, do we have a second? Mark, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So moved. Thank you. Okay. Report approved.
Voucher. I move that we approve the vouchers as on. Sure.
So, we have a second on that? Mike, any further discussion? None? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Now, I have a voucher that at the last meeting of last year, December 15th, we had a voucher that was presented to the commissioners. And on that voucher, there was a note that said hold. And this was something for an outgoing commissioner for dues to be paid for the next several years. So this is a New York State Association of Fire Chiefs dues. This individual was not one of our chiefs. There was no chance to discuss this. And the reason there was no chance to discuss this is because we were in executive session for such a long time. And then when we came back out, that was it. So what I'd like to do now is I'd like to make a motion that we either approve payment or reimbursement of this or deny reimbursement of this voucher. So this way, we are approving or disapproving this voucher that was on hold, that had hold, please hold on it. Do you have a second on that motion?
Well, is it the motion to approve or disapprove?
Aye is approving, nay is not approving. So you're either gonna pay it or you're not gonna pay it. Yes, you pay, no, you do not pay.
I would make the motion for one or the other. Because that's,
You want two motions?
Well, one motion. So we'll make a motion to pay. So I would be paying, no would be not paying. Same thing.
Yep.
Okay? And did we have a second? Matt, any further discussion? Was this brought to anybody's attention prior to it being slipped into the vouchers? I had asked everybody, nobody had any contact with it.
You dropped that on my desk. That's why I put the note on it. Isn't there question marks next to that hold?
Yes,
Yes.
so,
Okay, I'm not saying to hold. I'm putting a question marks for you to decide whether you're going to hold it.
and that's what we're doing tonight. And like I said earlier, we didn't have that opportunity. It was held, it was not in the packet.
When I write that, I'm not telling you to hold.
No problem.
No, no.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
well, you were doing yes or no, so you want a roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
Speech,
No.
Thompson,
No.
Malone,
No.
Harrison,
No.
McCready.
No.
I think that goes back to the treasurer.
Right. Thank you. So that's, Bill, basically that's the reasoning behind it, so that this way we have an opportunity to question, go through, and make sure that everything is the way that it should be. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, it looks like you get the bank statements today.
Yep.
Lucky God. Do we have any permissive referendums that we closed out? Don't think so.
I don't think so.
Okay. Correspondence, Amy, what have you got?
Commissioner Kit Thompson submitted notification that she is a director for Riverview Cemetery Association in Baldwinsville and wishes to be covered under the fire district insurance policy as such. We received the fire district affairs. Our insurance review is scheduled for the February 23rd meeting. Tony Blackwell will come in to review our insurance. And we have received 2 FOIL requests. The first was received January 13th. The response has been sent and the request was processed. The second was received on January 19th. It has been acknowledged and I'm in the process of gathering the requested information. And that is all I have for.
Very good, thank you. Chief's report, Chief Lacey.
Okay, personnel, nothing specific, but we do have some things that impact personnel and the policy later on this. Surplus requests, I've got one to add in there, the scissor lift. It's already been surplused. We had talked about private sale opportunity, and I think that fell through. Went for permission to get that onto Auctions International and work to get that moved out of here. Unless there's still opportunity for private sale.
I'll reach out again to the gentleman who expressed interest and see if he's still interested. I asked him, he said yes, but then I haven't heard anything from him. And I know that one of the firefighters from Henrietta said that they were interested, but that fell through there. So.
Okay. If you all are good with it, if we can work those 2 avenues offline for private sale, if those fall through, if we can get the nod, then move that immediately to auctions. If those fall through, get that moved out.
Okay, sounds good.
All remaining cloth hose, we'd like to donate to Tom Webster to be used for charitable donations of decorative flags. Tom, if you could address a couple of the charitable organizations that you build those for.
Sure. The primary one is through Syracuse. We have the Firefighter Cash Foundation New York. Every September we have a large event. Possibly moving this year to the F-Shed, CNY Region Market, but it's always been the blind party next to National Review. And I always make a hose flag. Usually I'm looking for the scrap hose that's been damaged beyond repair. And then, so I donate to that. I donate to Wounded Warriors. There's a fellow who works for Davis Homer Sprinkler, who is tied in with them. He hosts a event for them every October. I've been donating to him for the last 2 years, and I look to continue that. And I donate towards the coworker of mine also in Syracuse as a smaller size fundraiser for Alzheimer's down in Homer. He runs down in the Homer VFW, and I also donate a hose flag to that. I've donated to other various, events and of similar nature on like a one-off type of deal. But if anyone ever comes to me, it's one of my hobbies to do. I whip them up and I donate. Yeah, that's that.
So, quick review of that hose back there. Most of it was orange 2-inch. Some of it with the date of the 1990s on it. It's nothing we're ever going to put back in service. We will go back through it again. There is some 2.5 that's intermixed. if any of that is found to still be usable or should be on the rack for spare, we'll pull it back off. But we've already filtered through that a couple of times. We have a decent amount of spare at Station 2. Again, we will double check the hose we have at headquarters, but right now, to the best of my knowledge, none of that is serviceable for us at this point. Obviously, worthy causes. I think that's a great use of that resource.
And another one, more recently, was the Woosaka Jensen Town Center in Mattydale. If you guys go in there, you'll see a large 8-foot by 4-foot flag. The fellow who I donate flags to for David Salmer, he provided all the deals for them. But if you guys are ever in there, that's a big flag.
We need a motion.
Sure, something we need a motion.
I'll make that.
We have a second? Any further discussion?
Are we looking at a lot of hose, pallets, 2 pallets, 3 pallets?
Pallet,
Yeah.
pallet and a half. I think most of what we have back there is old rubberized toes. We have a lot of 2.5 inches cord rubberized. The way we've got the pallet stacked right now, I'd say we're probably looking at a pallet of this.
Bring a truck.
It's good.
I got you. Full tools for account.
So, let me go back one step. Should we declare it surplus and then?
It has not been declared surplus, so that does need to happen. And then the disposition would be the donation. So if you want to do that, 2 separate motions. Yeah.
Okay, so my motion first is going to be declared surplus.
Okay, we have a second on that?
I'm gonna second it, Mark.
Mark seconds it. Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? Get on that second motion.
So I'll make the second motion to donate it to be used for charitable donations.
Mark seconds it. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition?
Thank you. If you guys ever have any need for one for any type of charitable donations, please feel free to reach out. It's a hobby more than anything.
Will do, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
The next item on here, and it's split up, looking to declare surplus and dispose of skull cap number 340, and separately a shell with that serial number. This was a helmet that was modified. Skull cap was not original to the exterior shell of that helmet. It cannot go back in service. It needs to be destroyed and disposed of. It was yet another unsafe finding in our equipment. And this helmet, this skull cap and shell both need to be destroyed and thrown away. They cannot be used. Something happens, that happens by somebody manipulating their gear and modifying their gear. This was not something that was done from the manufacturer. The skull cap was specifically to a yellow shell helmet, and it was placed inside a red shell helmet of a different manufacture date.
If somebody wanted.
I can't speak to the motivation, I can't speak to who, I can't speak to why, I won't speak to any of that. This is a modified helmet that needs to be destroyed and thrown away. Hopefully this is the last of the destroyed, modified, destructive equipment that we find.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, next to the motion, do we have a second? Matt? Further discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? So moved.
All right, moving on. Looking for approval for officers to attend the Port City Fire Conference at a cost of $150 per person. Looking for approval for all the officers, and then we'll kick it out to register if they are available. We attended last year with all of the officers. Great local training opportunities, some national, and there's some more diversity this year. Last year was Nick Martin in one specific company. This year they have a couple of different companies coming in and presenting some diverse views. So fantastic networking opportunity, a fantastic training opportunity that falls in line with some of the things we're doing with SFG driven response, with the response order guide. the topics being presented fit with where we're moving operationally. So really, really good opportunity for our officers.
Do we have a motion for that? Yeah. Second? Mike? Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So,
Staying on the theme of training, I'm looking for approval for up to 4 members to attend a Take the Door live fire search training course and prepay the registration with a payback agreement. They're looking for up to $800 per person. We had 2 individuals take this training last year. Again, this is completely in line with where we're moving operationally. This covers making search a priority. It covers how to conduct search. It covers vet, enter, isolate search. It's in line with where we've moved with both the response order guide and our SOGs and our current training. Received great feedback in both individuals that attended that training are working on helping us create a training program going forward and actually looking at building out a more realistic search environment within our tower. There's already some drawn plans for that and some things to move forward with. So again, I think it's a great opportunity. There's some cost to it, but the opportunities for training like this, it's taught by instructors from several municipalities around the country, not just local folks. So they're really getting a diverse experience, and there's very few opportunities like this locally. So again, looking for up to 800. It was, I believe, 675 or 725 last year. We just started looking for some room in case they've increased their costs, and I couldn't find the registration fee. So that's the up to 800. Hopefully we're a little bit below that.
what's payback agreement?
So we need to, when we did this last year, these spots fill up and you can't actually hold your spot without payment, right? So the district policy of paying after the fact, we're asking for a pretty big upfront on that registration fee. So we're asking for the district to prepay for those people. If they are unable to attend and we're not able to substitute somebody into their spot, nobody's available to substitute in, then that individual will be responsible to pay the district back. The company will allow us to substitute individuals. So if we have 4 people say yup, and somebody all of a sudden has to back out, we would be able to backfill with another individual. It's a company where we have good relationships with them. So we've got some room there, but we do want to protect the district that if all of a sudden 4 people sign up, 4 people back out, we can't backfill them. If you made the commitment to that, the district paid for you, and you don't show, you're going to pay the district back the money for the registration.
All right, do we have a motion for that? Matt? Mike, second. Any further discussion?
Is it 1 day, 2 days, 3 days? Is it just 1 day?
It's a 2-day.
2 days.
Yep.
And that's here in the city, Syracuse?
It's at the Clay Tower.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
Communications, I'm going to begin with one that you do not have on your agenda. We received a request from New York State Troopers to utilize the tower Monday, March 16th to Friday, March 20th. They're looking for both the tower and to use the classroom at Station 2. And they would be doing that for their special operations response team, holding a class for prospective members. And what they're looking for specifically within the towers for their chemical munitions exposure, practical. They have indicated that they have certified instructors and their own EMTs, and both will be on site as they conduct their operations. So tower use will just be for that one portion. They will be using the Station 2 classroom for the rest. They provided times. I can forward that to you all. It seems a reasonable request. It seems that, I can tell you that the times there won't interfere with our use of the facilities at all. I think it's certainly one of our partner agencies, so I think it's a worthwhile support.
Do you have a motion for that?
Make a motion.
Michael, do you have a second? Matt, any further discussion?
The only thing I would recommend is prior to the thing Before they get there, it's clearing, because if the weather, the snow, clear the snow, and make sure there's no ice on any of the levels of the concrete from soaking into the tower.
Sure thing. We can do that. Yep. And I will go forward and down here. I'll get this forward to you so you have it for your records. If there's anything in there that all of a sudden we need to go back on it, we've got time.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved.
Communications, I had opportunity to meet with Chief Bonneville from Phoenix. It was a great conversation. Just like our partners over at Northwest, we're seeing quite a bit of alignment in where we're going and what we're doing. In fact, some of the initiatives that we've taken on here over the last year and a half, without knowing Phoenix has been walking the same path. A lot of synchronization in the training. They were obviously a part of what we did with the response order guide. They've been training on that for several months and have actually already started managing incidents in that response arrival order. It was surprising to hear that, but it was encouraging because the barn fire that we had on River Road, Chief Bonneville actually used that guide to manage the resources. Our responding engine was completely unaware that's what he was doing, but fit right into it without any direction, without even knowing. So there's some encouragement there too, that now we've seen without even knowing an on-the-ground application of that, and it works. I think we've got a lot of opportunity going forward, similar to what we've done with partnering with Northwest and talking about procedures and policies and response together. Phoenix is looking at that as well. So we've got direction out to folks for how we respond with both Northwest, Morris Corners, and then other departments. Chief Bonneville is looking at some of that where we can come to you and say, hey, we have an agreement. We're going to respond together for these types of alarms in these areas. And what that will look like. And again, I think we've got some opportunity for some joint training. We're talking with both Northwest and Phoenix about that, to actually dedicate one training a month and set that up and have that be joint training. So we'll see what comes of that, but it was a very encouraging conversation. We've got a couple more conversations to go, but we're really seeing some good alignment between where we are and what we're doing and where they are and what they're doing.
You know, part of that discussion also was with Plain Village, and Chief Malkiel was discussing with that Plain Village.
Yep, for the response order guide, and we're seeing that alignment there too. That is one of the next conversations, is sitting down with Chief Crowder and having that same conversation we've had with Northwest that we've had with Phoenix, and seeing where we align and where we may be separate and need to do something different. So Plainville is certainly on the map for that, and all of the town of Lysander chiefs contributed to how we're responding there. So we know that there's alignment because we've already seen alignment in the chiefs in producing that document. The next thing I have under communications, looking for permission to approach the department to discuss donations from trading in our SCBA. So if you recall, when we approved the SCBA purchase, there was no buyback of that equipment through the manufacturer or through the sales rep. That was going to be done under donation to the department. So we're donating off those SCBA. There would be a cut check to the department. That was part of the original agreement on that. We're looking for that donation, to talk to the department about that donation and any donations that are received directly from community risk reduction activities. So if we go do a smoke detector install and somebody writes a check and says, thank you for installing my smoke detectors, we would like both of those. So moving forward, the one-time donation for the SCBA trade-in, and moving forward, donations tied to community risk reduction programs and we'll have to talk about the mechanics financially on how we do that, but for those donations to be utilized for CO detectors and for funding future CRR programs. So essentially, the donation from the SCBA would be the startup fund for the CRR for that pool of money, and then anything tied to a CRR activity goes back into CRR funds to continue that, so it's generating its own revenue to push itself forward. CO detectors is the first identified item in that. We're working with American Red Cross. They're providing detectors, but they don't provide CO detectors. We know from our data that CO alarms and CO detectors, we are going on CO alarms routinely. Having the ability to be able to place CO detectors within homes is pretty massive, but the cost of that. So that's why we're looking to go to the department, sit down, have a conversation, work with both the treasurer of the department and the treasurer of the district, come up with a framework for how to manage that, and then bring that back for your approval and approval on the department side. But we just want your permission to do that.
Yep, I think you have to go through the department, go through the department, and then you that. Okay. I think we need a motion on that to go ahead and talk.
Nods from the table is fine by me. For projects, we're deep in annual testing and servicing of equipment being scheduled. We're waiting on American Test Center for our aerial tests. We've got routine PMs being scheduled for Montreux here tomorrow for our tools. We're waiting on the proposal from Jake for our apparatus and their service. So that's ongoing, and routine cycle of equipment is being serviced. Speaking of service, I got one thing to add. The drivetrain for engine 11 and the mysterious clunk that it has had for quite some time, 11 will be going to Colden now that their facility, the shop facility is open. It'll be going to Colden next week. So Sunday night we'll be trading out, we'll be swapping tools into 21 and moving that down here, and that'll be going in services 11. And they anticipate to have that for most of next week, or most of next week.
Did they find out what it was? Or
That's what they're going to do. So they got to do some testing, they got to do some diagnostics, they got to try to figure out what that is, and they've been holding off until they have their shop facility here in order to do that, because they are going to have to tear some stuff down to try to get to the bottom of what that is. In talking with their techs and talking with another tech, it's come up at some national trainings. They've discussed with other EVTs. Colden's had a good conversation around that, what the possibilities are, and I think they got a good direction on where they're going to try to discover where that's coming from.
21 is the twin of the 11, right?
Yes.
So you think that'll be next up?
If it starts clunking, it'll be next up. If it doesn't clunk, then we're
Leave it
going
alone.
to keep rolling.
Is it an ongoing thing that it would be covered under warranty?
It is covered under warranty. We met with them. They agreed that even if this delay put it past the warranty window, that they would do it under warranty. They've been aware of it for months. So they did agree when we sat down that they would be covered in this under warranty. There would be no questions about that. Next up. Retirement system discussion and approvals. So I've met with all of you and discussed where we are currently with our retirement system for New York State for our career staff, the plan that we're under, and my recommendation to move to 384D, and my recommendation to add final average earnings for, we per New York State, we have to apply it to everybody. It really only applies in our case specifically to our tier 2 folks, and that is 9 individuals that are employed here right now. So 384D would apply to everybody, and then asking additionally for final year earnings to be added to our tier 2 folks. As we discussed, this moves us into the standard retirement plan for New York State Police and Fire. Now, there are options. It's completely up to the board. We've discussed pros and cons of where we are and where we're looking to go. Happy to answer any questions or explain anything further, but hopefully our discussions ahead of this meeting kind of got you where you need to be, but I'm happy to answer anything you have on that.
I think cost is one issue. Where are we at now and where are we going? What's the price differential? What's the cost differential?
So currently, we built, because of a previous understanding that was not correct, we built this year's budget on 384D. So your 2026 budget is already budgeted for 384D. for 3 firefighters 24/7. So that's what the personnel budget was built on. So you already have that in there. What it is essentially is it's a percentage increase. I don't have the specific, I don't have that sheet that I had. Unless one of you brought it with you, I gave away a couple copies of it. It was the New York percentage breakout.
Send that.
So this has it's, so I presented y'all with the percentage increase. I don't have it in front of me. I can't tell you what that number is. I can take our time right now to try to dig it back up, but that was presented when we all met. The final average earning is essentially, to the best of our knowledge, is 7% on top of the increase. Now that's not budgeted, so that would be 7% for just those 9 individuals, 7% of the payroll paid specifically to those folks.
Well, I think it's important that we keep in line with other municipalities. We don't fall behind and not offer a good retirement program, because we won't be competitive in the marketplace for firefighters. And the longer we wait to do this, because we have to buy back some time, right? The longer it's never going to be cheaper. It's always going to cost more money to buy back.
Correct. This will, if you elect to do this in the future, it will be, from what we have been told by the state, there is a buy-in, there's a buyback rate, because we didn't do this from the beginning. So in order to bring everybody up to it, they assess a fee on top of that. Bill has requested that. We don't have that estimate. We don't know what that buyback is. What we do know is it will be more. If we discuss this next year, the year after, the year after, the year after, you will have an expanded pool of employees that you're buying back in, and you will have increased costs, so just like everything else. I did just pull up the final rate here, so for the 20-year non-contributory plan, which will be your tier 2 folks, again, so you're talking 9 folks on just the 384D. It's 36.7% of the payroll. We were at, for the 375I, it would have been 24% this year. So you're going from 24% to 36.7. If you don't have the number on the final average earnings, we requested that through the state also. Some paperwork that we looked at showed it was a 7% increase. On their 2026 final rate sheet, it does not indicate that. So I have no way to quote you that accurately without getting that from the state. Again, that's for 9 folks, and just to put it in perspective, our tier 2 folks on a 20-year retirement, I think, not that they will elect to retire, but our last folks under that plan would be eligible to retire in 3 years. In 3 years. So that final average earning, as we discussed, will eventually go away, right? Those tier 2 folks, they're no longer offering that. We are on to tier 6 now. So that has a timeline on it. That's not a forever contribution of the district. That goes away. And we've already talked about the benefits of what that does, and hopefully having folks fill the schedule while they're in their final couple of years to earn that additional benefit, right? It is an earned benefit that they have to work to earn. So hopefully that helps with those folks filling in schedules. And 8 folks that I am in tier 2, that would be me, full disclosure. but I'm salaried, so like, there's no filling of the schedule for me. 8 of our folks are all line folks, so we're looking at 8 folks to be able to take additional shifts to earn that in the final 2 years.
I guess my point is, it's never gonna cost less. It's always gonna cost more if we wait. If we wait, these people are not gonna be covered during that time that we wait.
Correct. So essentially, right now, the district is paying for a retirement benefit that will never be realized by anybody under our current configuration. So the 24.1% that you're paying is useless. You are donating 24.1% to the retirement system that will never be realized by any of our employees.
Because
Because they are all under 384D or a similar system. We have some folks that have some different numbers. I don't know what they are because they have different affiliations, but they're tier 2 police and fire. Right, so right now, as it stands, nobody will realize this benefit in our current configuration. But to your point of going forward, if we continue to elect this plan, if we ever end up at full-timers, this is a very difficult system to retire out of compared to what is standard in this area for police and fire. So when you're looking at recruitment and retention, this is not a feather in the cap. You can say you're in police and fire retirement, but you are in the most basic plan. Well, every department around us, -1, is in a higher tier plan. Right, so it's a recruitment and retention tool. We are not in a plan that you're going to be able to bring in. We are in a plan that others will be able to recruit away from us and entice them to the benefits.
Okay,
I think we should do it.
do we have a motion?
Yes.
Okay, Mark's a motion. Do we have a second?
Second, I got one second.
Any more seconds? Do we have a second? No seconds? There, any further discussion?
So
Be nice to know the cost, though. That's the bottom line.
it's
36.7%?
yeah, it's budgeted for this year. I'd have to pull out this year's budget. But we don't know the cost. If we want to hold until we get that estimate from New York State, understand that estimate is as of that date, and you're going to be more than that. We do have the retirement system reserve already established and funded, that we should be able to absorb this. We know the cost. No, part of that is because, right, we need to know what that is, but understand that that will be in that moment in time, and your cost will likely go up by how much I can't tell you.
Now, is that for 9 firefighters?
So what we're looking for really is there's 3 separate pieces of this.
Okay,
There is going to 384D
correct.
for everybody. And then there is the additional final average earnings for our tier 2 folks, which is that, to the best of our knowledge, 7%, but we have to get that quoted by the state as well.
So, I mean, is there a formula for 9 or 20 or 30, or, I mean, how does
It's percent of payroll. You're never gonna know a fixed cost because you're never gonna know your payroll.
Okay,
Right? Then any configuration of tier 2 versus tier 6 working, I'm never going to be able to give you a dollar. What we did in building the 26 budget was picked a middle of the road, understanding most of our folks are tier 6, but that tier 2 contribution is higher. We didn't go with a tier 6, we didn't go with a tier 2. We modified that down, right? We built it based on both, and that was the estimate we put forward. And that's why also we created the retirement, you all created the retirement reserve 2 years ago, was to fund any shortfalls or differences in that.
And we contributed heavily to that with the year-end.
So you're budgeting for 26, already was built for the 384D an estimated 384D contribution. What was not considered in there was the 9 individuals that were asking for final average earnings. That was not built in, but again, we are well funded in the retirement system reserve for that purpose.
Okay. Did we have a second?
Yeah.
Yes.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Right.
I heard something. Any opposition? On my opposition.
Thank you very much.
Can I have that piece of paper back?
Yes.
I don't know what to talk to.
All right. You will now get a break from me.
We'll start with the easy stuff first. All the gas meters have been calibrated. The cal gas is in, so we're good for a long time on that. Something that got tabled last fall was the continuation of the training agreement with Mr. Felice. The chief and I find value in this in the aspect of an outsider's perspective that can help guide the organization in our EMS program. I don't remember the number. It was minimal. Commissioner Chura didn't have any interest in it at the time, but I wanted to bring it back up because I do feel that it's a good value for us to stay current and give our members a different perspective. So that way it's not just myself, Chief Melchior, Chief Gleason saying, hey, these are the trends. Here's an outsider telling you the same exact thing.
So it's $1,800 for 1 year of service. And speaking with Chief Melchior today, and I'll give you half of this, I'll give you the other half when we get to his report and you get to hear me again. We will also be able to use this where Mr. Felice will be able to help us establish our own EMS program. So more to come on that. We're looking at an online platform where we'll be able to manage both fire training and EMS training. Right now, we recertify under the region. We are contracted to continue that for this year. But moving forward, I believe we're in a really good spot to take that, to really explore taking that on next year and removing us from the contract from the region for that recertification. Mr. Felice can help us down that road also as he's doing it. He also helped us quite a bit as we implemented in this trend and put that forward. So we already know he's willing to step outside of I'm not just coming for a Thursday night in this training. He's willing to help guide us and help us move forward. Okay.
So just want to put that back on the radar and see if that's something we can get approved.
All right, do we have a motion to approve Brian Felice for this upcoming year for, 4 trainings?
So in his description, the region, we have to work with the region and certify with them ourselves, but he helps us making sure that we have met the training requirements. We pull off a report, he looks at it and says, yes, you're good. So he does that for all expiring members. He said he has in here provide on-site review sessions and required BLS skills for recertification twice a year scheduled by the department, quarterly simulation-based scenarios scheduled by the department, and offer availability as a resource for EMS-based questions the department requests. So that's the part that covers us moving towards that program, shifting off and covering some of that.
And one of the things he showed us was how to get some refunds, which we never knew anything about before.
Correct.
That's a benefit.
Yep. He is absolutely a wealth of knowledge, and we do now have EMS reimbursement money that we've got something coming via in the next couple of months where we're looking at turning that reimbursement money around and supporting our CPR training under the CRR program. So there's absolutely benefit for the cost that he's charging.
Okay,
I make the motion to renew the contract.
Tim makes the motion, do we have a second? Mark, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? So moved. There you go.
The last thing I have is, I've talked to a couple of you on the special tax zones. I sent an email out last week with some information. Back in the fall, the budgeting committee, finance committee, gave us approval to get information from the town on all the tax rolls and assess them all. So a special tax zone is something that the fire district can establish to collect an extra fee for certain properties based on hazards. So in your packet, there's some information. There's a short form on what we're looking at, but it's high hazard. So any of your industrial processing, any of your high density apartment complexes, townhouses, row homes are all applicable to that. That allows us to provide apparatus and specialized training and equipment to better respond for these facilities. Yes, the need for service predominantly is residential, but that does not mean there's not risk for these facilities. And when it does happen, it's going to be a large response and a technical response that we can't do under our current complement. We'll never be able to fully do it. 1710 and 1720 for residential house fires is anywhere from 15 to 20 firefighters. When you get into some of these big commercial buildings, you're talking upwards of 50 to 75 firefighters, depending on what we're dealing with. This allows us to better prepare and better equip and better train our personnel. So we're looking for approval to move forward with this. And then I want to provide you guys some data based on thresholds that you give us to assess the tax rolls, and I can identify by parcel ID and address which facilities that we are going to recommend be included in this tax zone.
Are there types of properties you're recommending?
Yes, so we look at apartment complexes. We do have a increasing amount of row homes, any type of manufacturing, large storage facilities, so Grana and Budweiser and anything over there by Station 2. Those are our target hazards. Any medical, like large medical facilities right there on Willett, those are all included in our assessment. We need a dollar amount to look at of, hey, an assessed value of this, we want above this, we want included in this zone. We can provide that for you.
Is that what the highlighted ones are?
So the highlighted is all the property classes that are utilized. All the highlighted ones are what the town of Lysander has in it. So anything that we got from the assessor's office, I highlighted every property class. There's a lot of weird ones in there that we probably don't see, but a lot of your, like the apartment complexes are 411s, the row houses are 281s. You get into the 500s and 600s, that's your manufacturing, or 600s your governmental, and then 700s all your processing facilities.
So you're basically saying we can adjust the tax rate for these type of businesses?
Yes, sir. So the process is, we identify, you guys have to do the legal side of it as the fire district. And then we can say, these are the properties. And that's a variable that's adjusted based on every budget year. Just like we adjust the residential tax up and down, we can adjust this as well.
So like when we do our raising our taxes, well, the homeowners out there, it doesn't really get into the business end of it.
Correct. They see it, but it's not as, so that, yes. So the goal of this is to not balance the fire district's budget on the backs of the residential taxpayers. that yes, there is hazard in residential house fires. These facilities have a higher hazard between fire, hazmat, technical support. So if we can train and equip and gather money from that, we can potentially in the future lower the residential tax rate or keep it even keel instead of continuing to go up.
Right. And then like a business or apartment complex, you're saying you gotta have more apparatus, more personnel and all that. I don't see us going up in personnel all that much. And that's why we have mutual aid, like you're saying, for the larger businesses, you're looking at 40, 50 people. And that's where all the mutual aid people coming in effect and all that. I could see them probably trying to argue that fact, say, okay, if I'm gonna pay more for this business for my fire tax, then what is the benefit of me paying more? And unfortunately, at this time, we can't provide them with the more assets that we're looking at.
We already are. Under our CRR program, we already are. We've already met with them. We already have pre-plans scheduled, and that will go towards, that will go towards some of Norm's time, that goes to the crew time. So we will be providing a higher level of service. We are going to be in the pre-planning and creating procedures around how best to handle emergencies at these facilities.
Right.
We're not doing that for every house in right? So
Right.
we do anticipate a higher level. Let me address the mutual aid. It doesn't exist. They are struggling just like we are.
Yep.
So striking the box to bring 50 people, you're striking half of Onondaga County. So staffing eventually does change. If we watch throughout the country, staffing has changed because striking the mutual aid belt, they're all struggling too, right? We're not saying it changes now. There's discussions about that. There's future talk about that. But striking that mutual aid belt doesn't bring the cavalry. We are seeing departments actually pulling back, and I got more exploration to do on this, but I was just told yesterday that one of our mutual aid companies is starting to pull off of several departments in the area because they're not able to provide the service, right? So the mutual aid gone is a diminishing return as well.
Right.
By establishing this now, we are providing a higher level of service, and we are going to continue to do that, right? That is for our benefit and for theirs by being in there. But with Norm being in his position, now we have the ability to have somebody spearhead that and be forward leaning on this, to have the right procedures, to have the right equipment. Let's be honest, I know this is controversial in Onondaga County. We don't need a truck for a house fire, period, end of story. We need the water to put out the fire unless we burn it down, then you need the air. All of these facilities require the truck. Right, so that's where you get into the specialized equipment and what we need, right? So that's where we're looking to do that. That's where Chief Natoli says, right, balancing that, those things that matter to those businesses, 1710, 1720, those things that are required. We shift that cost of the maintenance, the training, the ability to have that equipment and that staffing for those higher hazard or higher occupancy or higher density to those folks that benefit from that service.
So I got a decent analogy for you. This was another takeaway that I got from it. As a commercial building, they pay a different rate for National Grid or their service provider for the utilities. So this is kind of the same concept. If we are going to, because they're a business, they're going to get a more of a fee based on what they do. It's all based on assessed value.
So how do we figure what percentage each, is it all individual? So like Anheuser-Busch should pay something different than a smaller complex?
So what my recommendation is for the fire district, if adopted, is we do an overlay of the current Belgium Cold Spring Fire District, and we identify identify the tax rate and say, we're going to tax it, whatever. My example in the packet is $2.50 a thousand for commercial properties. That will be applied to every business or parcel that we identify. That is all variable based on what their assessed value is. So the assessed value for Anheuser-Busch is obviously much higher than the assessed value for, So yes, ultimately it'll be an even distribution based on what their assessed value is.
So then when a new business comes into town, they'll know upfront what their new rate, their tax rate for the fire service and everything else would be.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
in reality, I'd say it's minimal. It's not, you're not talking, huge dollar amounts for most. There is some for the bigger, assessed value properties, but predominantly it's,
But overall, it could help the residents balance out ours, either very minimum increase now or even a lower or a flat rate.
correct.
Are other fire departments going to this?
Yes, there's at least 2 other departments in the county that I know that are doing it currently.
That are going through it or have done already?
They've done it. Actively, one of them is longstanding for the last few years, and one of them is fairly new doing it, but with success. And they've been instrumental in helping us get to where we are as far as data collection and the presentation that you guys have in your hands.
And what we need to do is if we want to move forward with this, we have to identify the type of properties
Yes, ma'am.
that we want. We have to schedule a public hearing. And at that public hearing, we tell everybody, this is the story, this is what we propose. And then, based on the input at the public hearing, we make a decision whether to establish the special tax zone. I think that's
Yes.
presumed.
Yeah, so the information I need from, if you guys want to move forward with this, is I need the types of buildings, or type, if we're going to say generically commercial buildings, I need the assessed value that you want to put in the consideration spreadsheet, and I can have that data to you as early as next week. And I highly encourage including the apartment complexes, which are 411s, and the row homes, which are 281s.
So what you're talking about is apartment complexes, row homes, manufacturing, storage,
Any commercial.
or commercial or storage. Now, is there a threshold for that commercial?
So
What
that's,
about if I have a little business at my farm? Is that going to be commercial?
the recommendation that I have is you're not trying to bother, I don't say bother, to affect the local mom and pops. I would recommend anything that has an assessed value of $500,000 or more should be considered. That gets you out of affecting any of those small local groups as your big commercial LLCs and industrial partners.
Are townhouses row homes? Townhouses that are owned by people? And they're not commercial, they're actually owned by individuals. Is that considered a row home?
They can be, yes.
That means you're going to affect the local homeowner, not just the commercial properties, because they're homeowners that you'll increase their rates because they happen to live in a townhouse instead of a apartment or an individual house,
So they live in a high hazard occupancy.
mainly because of the way that building was built, like timber banks.
Is everyone saw? We have a motion on that to proceed?
I have a motion. Proceed.
Well, second. Okay, all right. So further discussion. So we're gonna proceed with this, but we need to, number one, determine which properties. Number two, the dollar amounts. I'm sure there's 4 and 5 in there also. Anybody else have any questions?
That's all spelled out right here.
Yeah.
All right. All in favor? Any opposition?
So should we establish that, like $1 million or more? And if you have in there the types of property.
So we're looking to go ahead. We need to determine what types of property So there's a whole lot more. There's the public hearing, we need to determine where the tax zones are gonna be.
And we can give him direction on the types of properties, then he can come to us with figures. Is that right?
That's the question, sorry.
If we can identify to you the types of properties and the threshold, then you can give us
Yes.
figures. It doesn't mean we have to do it, but if we could give him that. I mean, if we don't give him the okay to go ahead on it, okay, it's gone. But if we give him the okay, we should give him some parameters.
What are the parameters that you want to give them?
Well, what he spoke about was apartment complexes, old row homes, manufacturing, storage, commercial, and with $1.5 million or more assessment. Right?
So you're looking at row homes. Are they over $500,000?
Most of them are. So if you look at the ones that are down here in Timberbank, they're all owned and operated by an LLC.
There's houses that are together also that are individually owned. Is that, yes, it's a high-risk property, is that $500,000? So, I don't know what the cost is of the houses over there.
I can provide you with every parcel has the owner, the everything, so you'll have all that information. I think to not get off in I think to try to standardize on that specifically is important. I understand that the goal is not to affect the taxpayers or the residential taxpayers, but unfortunately, in some of these townhouses and condos are in super high risk facilities or high density, so there's an inherent risk for that. A lot of the condos are only $60,000 to $70,000 in assessed value, but there's 126 of them that we're looking at. That's a lot of value that we're trying to protect with a minimal increase. I think when I was talking to Kit, I think it was maybe $50 to $100 increase in their fire tax. They're included in that special tax zone. So they're getting a pretty good bargain, in my opinion, for the level of service they're going to get.
Talking about it here doesn't mean that they're not doing it. I mean, we have he's going to gather us information, then we're going to have a public hearing, and then we're going to say, oh, I guess maybe not do this, or I don't think we can add that to the public hearing.
Correct. To Mr. Harrison's question, if a new building or new facility is put up, or there's a change in assessed value, the goal is to communicate with the assessor, hey, any assessed value that's over this, that changes, we need to be notified so we can go through the process every year of adding any buildings that pop up. For example, Colden, who's down the street from us, their current value is not what it's going to be based on their new building. That's just an immediate example, just because we drive by it every day. So that will be something in 2027. If this is adopted, we'll have to do another public hearing. It's just so they have the ability to come here and tell us yes or give us their concerns, and you guys can take them into consideration.
So you have to do a public hearing every year to do the taxing?
No, ma'am. Only if we're going to add something. So if we're going to add, if we get a list from the assessor that says, we've assessed these buildings and now they're in your threshold, we would have to turn around and say, we do the notification through our normal process of we're doing a public hearing for this. They have the ability to come here and express any concern or ask questions, and that goes back to you guys for consideration.
Well, just like I said, Colby, last year he was taxed at this rate, but now because he improved his property and all that, he gets reassessed by the assessor, the value goes up, then we have to bring a public hearing for him to go up. Okay. Or what other business that has that situation going on.
Well, we can address that when the time comes, but, right now, kind of looks like that may be the way it has to be, but it may not. If the property is identified and it's reassessed, we may not have to go through a public hearing as long as the property is identified. So, yeah, that's devil's in the details.
Okay.
So I make that motion that apartment complexes, row houses, manufacturing, storage, and commercial with assessed valuation of $500,000 or more, that we move forward with gathering that information.
I think you want to add industrial to that. I didn't hear you put industrial in there. Did you? Industrial.
Yeah,
You can do that one.
industrial, commercial.
Fair enough. Okay. Matt, further discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? So moved.
I'm all set.
Thank you. Okay.
Move on to Chief Maltier's report. He is in class tonight taking some training. For our CBA, we have one final training tomorrow night, and then we will be rolling that out. So new SCBAs will be going on the rig tomorrow evening or the next day. All of them get old, and we'll be live with new SCBAs. So a lot of work by that Chief Totally and Chief Maltier getting us to that point. We'll continue to train on those pretty heavily. I'm pretty excited to get those out there. It's a much needed piece of equipment. Additionally, and I spoke a little bit about this earlier with the online platform under Mr. Police's contract. Chief Melchior has been researching online training platforms. Part of that is to achieve our 100-hour training that's required under our municipal training program. With our career staff right now, they all work elsewhere, but career staff is required to complete 100 hours of training every year under certain topics. We have an obligation to provide them with a platform and a method to achieve that. The easiest way to do that for us is to roll into an online training platform that the state recognizes. They told us that they would recognize any of the main manufacturers. We then use state guidance to determine what classes from that program meet the requirements under the state. So it's pretty clear cut what topics we have to provide. Chief Malkier took the additional direction and additional step to work us towards becoming independent from the region on our EMS certification. So he's whittled it down to 2 providers that will provide both fire and EMS training in one platform. And both of those are recognized by New York State Department of Health for our EMS training. So we're very close to having some information for you on that. That's all the Chief Malkier's folks. So it's been a lot of what he's been under, and you'll see more to come on that. Additionally, he's been working with several members of the department on personnel levels and the training requirements. We have people signing up for classes left and right. A number of folks take the RIT training. A number of folks have done online training. The truck course that will be here, I believe, when I spoke with him, he said he had 6 or 7 individuals already signed up for that. So he has really been stepping forward, trying to mentor folks towards that and assist them through that. And we have a lot of folks participating in the training. So again, a lot of really good work by Chief Malkier on that. That's all I have for him. I'll stop and see if you have any questions on that before we move to Mr. Carroll. Okay, Mr. Carroll. We received the digital fire extinguisher trainer that was purchased through Lysander Public Safety. He'll have that available for you to do a demonstration. He's planning on bringing that to the commissioners meeting. For smoke detector installs for 2025, we have completed 67 detectors in 10 residences. already for 2026, 24 detectors installed in 4 residents. So that is a very active program. And again, we spoke about looking to add CO into that and mix that right in. That wouldn't be part of American Red Cross, that would be for our own guys, but Mr. Carroll's working on that. He's working on a couple of S&P revisions for malfunctioning detectors and how we replace that initially, and then follow it up, put them into a program where we're actually installing detectors by code and it's being overseen and we're getting proper paperwork. So he's already starting to work that into how we operate. If we show up on a smoke detector activation and all their detectors are out of date, he's working on an SOP for us to be able to replace a couple of key detectors until we can get back there, hopefully within 24 hours, and to a replacement up to code. So that's also something that's we're putting on. He has 2 facility walkthroughs, so I spoke about that just as we were talking about the tax district. And these walkthroughs, again, there's several key operational things we're looking at. Where do we enter? Where are standpipes? How do we conduct our operations? What's the best fire suppression? YMCA door radios work, or do we need to go off network and set that up? So those are all things that he's working on. We have Giovanni Foods and Fluid Power Sales both scheduled. They both attended the business community meeting and expressed interest in working with us. So we're doing our best to follow through on those folks showing up and being a part of that. And that's, again, where we're talking about making sure that we're providing service and value to our commercial and industrial partners. He is working on a meeting with the CPR group and working on a transition to go to AHA curriculum. He's got a plan already in place for the equipment that will be required for that will bring us to standard. We have some work to do to identify what we've received in the EMT certification reimbursements. Those monies by New York State Department of Health have to be spent in a certain manner that supports EMS training. So we will work to identify what we've received on that and then work to charge that under that program. But Mr. Carroll's working on putting that all together for you. And then we already talked about the permission to approach the department, and we'll be doing that. That is all I have there. Any questions on that?
Very good. Very good. We reported on that last night at the Lysander Public Safety meeting, that just to let the other departments in the area know that we're doing, that it is successful. It's a very successful program that we take a part of. So, very good. Any questions for the chief to go down north? No? All right, committee reports. It's the old one right here. So long-term planning. Got that, Mike?
Nothing scheduled for this month. Hopefully I'll have a meeting planned for February.
Okay.
I'll get my act together.
New truck committee.
Nothing on the new truck, but I will go over that for the listings. I just had a recent inquiry regarding Rescue 2. I responded back to the gentleman Monday. Haven't heard nothing back yet, but it's out there. People are seeing it, but only one report so far.
Tough time of year to solve vehicles at glass, etc. All right, Lysander Public Safety, next meeting is March 17th, and location will be determined. Budget and Finance, Kip, anything?
No,
IT, we've got what, the Power DMS renewal?
I forwarded that to you guys, I think, to review. The Power BMS renewals in May. It's for 124 users. It's based on user count, so it's $4,651.70, and that's for the year.
Do we have that many users, 124?
The support active and career.
That's a lot of users.
I can double check the count, but we're pretty close to that.
Personnel. Yep.
No, no report.
Truck maintenance, Mark?
Just what Chief Gleason has gone over, engine 11 going to Poland next week. 21 being re-diverted.
Building maintenance.
Just a question for the chief and Amy again regarding that pressure washer for Station 2.
It's here, it just needs to be.
Oh, we did have no one? Perfect. And then you have under here the washer and dryer. I think that can be,
Gonna be with a new station.
yeah, I think that can be removed there because we have reached our limits of what we have available to do.
Yeah, fire prevention norms take care of that.
Yep.
Any old business? Old business. I have some old business. So as I stated previously last year and several times before, the member review policy, I passed these out, we talked about it a little bit. There's copies over there. We implemented this, now we need to modify it and address it. So again, one of the things that I brought up, spoke to you earlier about was if you're looking at complete 10% of total alarms or complete 72 shift hours. And I think we still need to have another or in there where we have people that are falling short of the 10%, and yet they're falling short of the 72, but they're doing both. All right, so they're doing both of that. So we need to have something else in there. The other thing is and again, we're looking at numbers here. There's a spreadsheet that's also attached. We're looking at numbers, not points. So we want numbers of what everybody is, how many times somebody's coming, how many hours somebody's here. We want to look at that. We want to track that. We want to track training. There's different places out here for training. So again, this is just something that we need to work on as we move ahead. I'm looking for everybody's input on it. Our goal here is to maintain people, train people, and maintain trained people, and bring in new people so that they have an idea as to what's required of them. You know, this is what's required of them. So it's something that like I said, that we've been working on. We need to work on even more. I just want to look at your help on this, helping ideas. All right. Any other new business? We discussed the state retirement. We discussed the deferred compensation plan. And okay, new state deferred compensation plan.
Well, we talked about this 5 or 10 years ago. And then we just had Jerry and John, and neither of them were interested in doing it, so we just didn't do it. It doesn't cost us anything, but it's a service that we can provide for our personnel that allows them to invest a portion of their earnings pre-tax, right?
Correct.
And then when they, it's like an IRA, I suppose, when when they're 65 and they take the money, then they do pay tax on it, but usually at a lower rate.
So there's a lot of rules on that. It's a 457B, I think is the plan title to that. The analogy I'll use is a 401k. Right? So if you're in the private sector, you are contributing pre-tax dollars of your paycheck towards a 401k. There are some slightly different rules in when it can be accessed and how, but essentially it's the same thing. It's not district money going in, there's no cost to participate. Our employees to put a percentage of their pay or a fixed dollar amount of their pay pre-tax into this program. It's them investing in their future, similar to somebody in the private sector investing in 401k.
It's a certain percentage too, isn't it? It's only a certain percentage they put in, I think.
So there's IRS maximums
Right.
annually, and then it's similar to a 401k at B plus. You have catch up that you're allowed to do, but it meets the same thresholds. There are IRS maximums that can be put into that. Some folks do it by percentage. Some folks do it by fixed costs so that they make sure that they're hitting their maximum or whatever their individual goal is to put into their retirement for that year.
We were told when we started the retirement system back in 2000 that you can't have another. So we couldn't have a 401k at that time. Deferred compensation is different, right?
So you're only allowed to go into one retirement system legally, right? You have to be in New York State Police and Fire, and then there's the plans within that we discussed. Deferred compensation is perfectly legal to have on top of that. You were allowed that then, you're allowed that now. It is not, right, because it's not a district bound thing. I think if I'm understanding that properly, you wouldn't be able to purchase a separate retirement program and have the district contribute to that. The employees, they're required to be by law in New York State Police and Fire, and that's where the district makes their contribution.
Yeah.
This is a separate thing. The district is not contributing. So yes, you absolutely. There are already several people in their other employment that are in the retirement system and in the deferred comp, so you can run both of those side by side.
I think it's a win-win.
Is that a motion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually need to make a resolution. We can do the motion to adopt the resolution, but it's essentially whereas the Belgium Springs Fire District wishes to adopt the deferred compensation plan for employees and other participating jurisdictions, for the voluntary participation of all employees, and whereas the Belgium Springs Fire District is a local public employer eligible to adopt the plan pursuant to Section 5 of the state financial law, and whereas the fire district has reviewed the plan established in accordance with Section 457 of the IRS Code, Section 5 of the state finance law of the state of New York, and whereas the purpose of the plan is to encourage employees and to make and continue careers with Belgium Springs Fire District by providing eligible employees with a convenient and tax-favored method of saving on a regular and long-term basis and thereby provide for their retirement. And therefore, it's hereby resolved that the Belgium Cold Springs Fire District hereby adopts the plan for the voluntary participation. Resolved that the appropriate officials of the Belgium Cold Springs Fire District are hereby authorized to take such actions and enter into such agreements as are required or necessary for the adoption, implementation, and maintenance of the plan. And it's further resolved that the Administrative Services Agency is hereby authorized to file copies of these resolutions and other required documents with the President of the State of New York Civil Service Commission. And then it's just the adopted today at the meeting of the Belgium Springs Fire District. And then it just has to be certified that the local employer meets the meaning within Section 5 of the state financial law. And the adoption of the plan has received all required approvals of any local governing body or officer and otherwise complies with the local law. So they give you the sample. This is the resolution that we would have to adopt.
Okay, so we can make a motion for that, to adopt that resolution.
Right.
We have a second?
Matt.
Matt? Any further discussion?
Who made this second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? So moved. Any more new business?
Yes, I do. Remind everyone of the Onondaga County Fire Coalition 17th annual Onondaga County Fire and Emergency Education Conversation at Cicero on January 31st, Saturday. I've got the information here if anybody is interested in that. We need to make reservations for any who want to go.
I've already made those reservations for Commissioner LaCrease, Commissioner Johnson, and Commissioner Stitch.
And either you interested in going
I'd have to get back to you on that one. So it's next Saturday?
following Saturday?
Yes, right.
Also, the Central Region Fire Districts Association quarterly meeting is at Brewerton on the 24th. So anyone who wants to go to that, let me know, because I need to make reservations.
It's the 24th or the 26th?
It's Monday.
Monday's the 26th, okay.
Well, let's go with the 26th. That's better.
Worried.
Don't want to show up on the wrong day. So sometimes you go to that, Charlie.
Yeah, I was gonna go with this.
Anybody else want to go to that? The 26th. Not sure. Okay, well, let me know if anybody else wants to go. Thank you.
Just one, couple quick questions back on the building. Have we heard anything from Hills regarding the heat pump for back storage at headquarters?
Pump was replaced, same day.
No, I'm sorry. Like the heat issue that you had, like it went into alarm and you reset, have they come back yet to take a look at that? In the maintenance bay?
We didn't call them to come investigate that. We took the successful reset as a good for now,
Okay.
right? The conversation was,
Yeah,
we're gonna look deeper into that contract, but
That was
if
in
it's
there.
running properly, I don't know if it's worth our dollars. So
Right.
there's a failed state, they can come investigate.
Okay. And then they're still working on the pump system and all the.
There has been no response on the control of the pump system for at this point. We're still at manual, and I have not heard that they've found a solution.
Right. That's gonna cost something once that comes around properly. Yeah.
Especially as we get to spring, right, where we,
That's when they can.
that fall we got where it's warm outside, those
Right.
would kick down automatically. Right now, that control doesn't exist, so they're staying at temperature regardless of what it's doing outside.
Right. Okay. That's all I got.
Any more new business? Any public comments? So we're almost officially to adjourn, but all we have left to do is go through the document. So basically, that's the end of the meeting. We just have to do some signings. Meeting's still in session, but you're free to go.